Hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen. The importance of self-awareness cannot be overstated. It is the foundation of a fulfilled and meaningful life, enabling us to navigate the world with a sense of clarity and purpose. Self-awareness is about understanding who we are at our core, our values, strengths, weaknesses, motivations, and emotions. It is a process of getting to know the person behind our actions, thoughts, and choices. Without self-awareness, we are like leaves in the wind, blown about by external influences and circumstances, often feeling disconnected from ourselves and uncertain about our lives. But when we cultivate self-awareness, we anchor ourselves firmly in who we are, making choices that resonate with our authentic selves and create a life that feels meaningful and whole. Self-awareness begins with honest reflection. This means looking at ourselves without judgment, simply observing our patterns, tendencies, and responses. It involves taking a step back from our everyday reactions and viewing ourselves from a broader perspective. Through this kind of reflection, we begin to see the underlying motivations that drive our behaviors, whether it's the need for approval, fear of failure, or desire for connection. Self-awareness allows us to recognize these motivations, understand where they come from, and assess whether they are helping or hindering our growth. As we develop self-awareness, we also gain insight into our values. Our values are the guiding principles that shape our decisions, behaviors, and relationships. Yet without self-awareness, we may not fully understand what our core values are. Instead, we might adopt values from society, family, or peers without questioning if they truly align with who we are. Self-awareness enables us to identify and articulate our unique values, creating a personal compass that guides us through life. When we make choices that align with our values, we experience a sense of integrity and inner peace. This alignment helps us feel more connected to our lives and more confident in our decisions, knowing they are rooted in our authentic beliefs and aspirations. Another critical aspect of self-awareness is understanding our strengths and weaknesses. Each of us possesses a unique set of talents and limitations, and being aware of them allows us to leverage our strengths while working to improve our weaknesses. When we know what we're good at, we can focus our energy on activities that bring out our best and contribute positively to our lives and others. At the same time, recognizing our weaknesses helps us approach them with humility and openness. Instead of ignoring or denying our limitations, we accept them as areas for growth, allowing us to learn and adapt. This balanced view fosters both confidence and resilience, empowering us to pursue our goals while staying grounded in reality. Self-awareness also enhances our emotional intelligence, which is the ability to understand, manage, and express our emotions effectively. Emotions are a natural and vital part of our human experience. But when we lack awareness of our emotions, they can sometimes overwhelm or control us. Self-awareness allows us to recognize our emotional responses and understand their triggers, helping us respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. For example, instead of lashing out in anger or withdrawing in sadness, we can observe these emotions and choose a response that aligns with our values and long-term goals. This emotional awareness not only improves our relationship with ourselves, but also strengthens our connections with others as we become more empathetic, patient, and understanding. Self-awareness also has a profound impact on our relationships. When we understand ourselves deeply, we approach our relationships with a sense of wholeness and authenticity. We become less reliant on others to fill emotional voids and more capable of giving and receiving love without fear or dependency. Self-aware individuals are more likely to communicate openly and honestly, expressing their needs and boundaries clearly. This openness fosters healthy, respectful relationships, as we are more inclined to choose partners and friends who align with our values and support our growth. Additionally, self-awareness helps us navigate conflicts with greater empathy and understanding, as we can see situations from both our perspective and that of others. Another benefit of self-awareness is its role in personal growth and self-improvement. Self-awareness is like a mirror, reflecting back to us both our potential and the areas where we need to grow. By recognizing patterns of behavior that are no longer serving us, we become empowered to make changes. For instance, if we notice that we often procrastinate or react defensively to criticism, we can address these habits consciously, developing new ways of thinking and behaving. Self-awareness enables us to take responsibility for our actions and decisions, fostering a mindset of continuous growth and learning. With each layer of awareness we uncover, we become better equipped to overcome challenges and reach our goals. Moreover, self-awareness nurtures a sense of inner peace and contentment. When we are self-aware, we become more comfortable with who we are, embracing both our strengths and imperfections. This acceptance brings a sense of wholeness, as we no longer feel the need to hide parts of ourselves or seek validation from others. We become more grounded in our worth, understanding that we are valuable simply for being ourselves. This inner peace frees us from the constant pressure to prove ourselves or measure up to external standards. It allows us to experience life with a sense of ease and joy, finding fulfillment in simply being. In essence, self-awareness is the key to living an authentic and intentional life. It empowers us to make conscious choices, build meaningful relationships, and pursue growth with confidence and compassion. By turning our attention inward, we gain clarity about who we are and what we want from life, freeing ourselves from the constraints of external expectations and discovering the strength and beauty within. Letting go of external validation is an act of reclaiming one's own sense of worth and identity. So often we find ourselves measuring our value by the approval, praise, or opinions of others, allowing external judgments to dictate how we feel about ourselves. But external validation is fleeting. It shifts with people's perceptions and expectations, which are often shaped by factors outside our control. By relying on this outside validation, we place our self-worth in the hands of others, making it vulnerable to their moods, judgments, and biases. Letting go of this need means choosing to recognize our intrinsic worth and defining success, beauty, or happiness on our own terms. When we step away from seeking validation outside of ourselves, we open up a path to authenticity. We begin to make decisions based on what resonates with us, rather than what we believe will please or impress others. In this way, we develop a life that reflects our true values, interests, and passions, rather than conforming to external expectations. This process requires self-reflection, a willingness to question why we seek approval, and the courage to step into our own truth, even if it differs from what others might envision for us. By letting go of the need for external validation, we give ourselves permission to live in a way that is genuine and true. This journey towards self-validation often involves embracing vulnerability. It's about trusting that who we are, as we are, is enough, and that we don't need to perform, pretend, or constantly strive for recognition to feel valued. Vulnerability allows us to show up fully, acknowledging both our strengths and our imperfections, without feeling the need to hide or mask parts of ourselves. In doing so, we build inner resilience because we're no longer dependent on external affirmation to feel secure. We learn to stand confidently in our own worth, knowing that it doesn't waver with the opinions or criticisms of others. Letting go of external validation also cultivates a stronger sense of independence and self-empowerment. When we're not bound to the approval of others, we become more self-sufficient in our emotional well-being. Our happiness and self-esteem are no longer tied to the fleeting judgments or praises that come from outside, and instead we find fulfillment within. This independence enables us to pursue goals and dreams that truly align with our deepest desires, regardless of how they may be perceived by society, friends, or family. We move forward with confidence, not because of external applause, but because we are acting in alignment with our own purpose and vision. Additionally, releasing the need for external validation frees us from the exhausting cycle of comparison. When we seek validation from outside, we inevitably begin comparing ourselves to others, measuring our worth against their achievements, appearances, or lifestyles. This comparison often leads to feelings of inadequacy or insecurity, as there will always be someone who seems more successful, attractive, or accomplished. But by shifting our focus inward, we start to see our own journey as unique and incomparable. We recognize that each person has their own path, and that our worth isn't diminished by someone else's success. This self-acceptance brings a sense of peace and contentment, allowing us to celebrate our own progress without feeling overshadowed by others. Letting go of external validation also improves our relationships. When we no longer seek approval, we show up more authentically in our interactions with others. We're less likely to feel defensive, competitive, or insecure, as our sense of worth isn't at stake in each interaction. Instead, we can engage with people from a place of genuine connection and empathy, rather than needing their approval to feel validated. This authenticity strengthens our bonds and fosters trust, as others can sense that we're not putting up a facade or seeking something from them. We become more present in our relationships, focusing on mutual understanding rather than the need to be seen in a certain way. Finally, letting go of external validation nurtures self-love and compassion. By choosing to affirm ourselves, we send a powerful message to our own hearts that we are worthy of love, respect, and acceptance without needing external confirmation. This self-compassion encourages us to treat ourselves kindly, to be patient with our growth, and to celebrate our own progress no matter how small. We become our own source of encouragement, our own motivator, and our own supporter, finding fulfillment from within rather than looking for it outside. In this space of self-love, we realize that our worth is not something we need to prove, it's something we already possess. Aligning with your own values is the process of creating a life that feels authentic, purposeful, and grounded in who you truly are. Our values represent the beliefs and principles that matter most to us. They guide our actions, influence our decisions, and shape the way we interact with the world. When we live in harmony with our values, we feel a sense of integrity and inner peace, knowing that our choices reflect our deepest convictions. However, without clear alignment, we can find ourselves in situations or relationships that feel out of sync, leaving us disconnected and unfulfilled. Aligning with our values requires self-awareness, introspection, and, at times, the courage to make difficult choices that honor our true selves. To align with our values, we first need to understand what they are. This process of identifying our values involves looking inward and asking ourselves what we truly care about beyond societal expectations or external pressures. It's a process of peeling back the layers to reveal what genuinely resonates with us, whether that's integrity, creativity, compassion, growth, freedom, or connection. By defining these values, we gain a clearer picture of what we stand for and what kind of life we want to lead. This understanding then acts as a compass, helping us make decisions that are consistent with who we are at our core. Living in alignment with our values also provides us with a strong sense of purpose. When we act in ways that reflect our true values, our lives take on a deeper significance. We start to feel that our actions matter and that we are contributing to something meaningful. This sense of purpose can drive us through challenges and inspire us to pursue goals that may be demanding but are fulfilling. By aligning with our values, we are not just going through the motions of life, we are living with intention, motivated by principles that give our lives depth and direction. This purpose becomes a source of strength and resilience, helping us stay grounded even when external circumstances become challenging. Aligning with our values also means setting boundaries that protect our integrity. As we navigate relationships, careers, and social environments, there are often pressures to compromise our values to fit in, to please others, or to avoid conflict. But when we align with our values, we gain the confidence to say no to situations or choices that don't reflect who we are. These boundaries aren't walls that isolate us, but rather affirmations of what we are willing to accept in our lives. Setting boundaries based on our values strengthens our self-respect and signals to others that we are committed to living authentically. Over time, this practice helps us attract relationships and opportunities that truly resonate with our values, creating a life that feels supportive and meaningful. Additionally, aligning with our values encourages us to approach challenges with clarity and consistency. When we face difficult decisions or unexpected obstacles, our values serve as a steady foundation. We can ask ourselves, what choice aligns with my values, and let that guide us forward. This clarity prevents us from being swayed by momentary fears or external pressures, allowing us to make choices that we feel proud of, even if they are challenging. Knowing that our actions reflect our core principles gives us a sense of inner strength, allowing us to navigate difficulties without feeling lost or uncertain. It reassures us that, regardless of the outcome, we stay true to ourselves. Living in alignment with our values also fosters self-respect and self-confidence. When we consistently act in ways that align with our beliefs, we develop a sense of pride in who we are and what we stand for. We begin to trust ourselves, knowing that our actions reflect a commitment to our values rather than reacting impulsively or succumbing to pressure. This self-respect is empowering as it reinforces our belief that we are capable of making choices that honor our well-being and our personal integrity. With each aligned decision, our confidence grows and we feel more equipped to face life's complexities with conviction and resilience. Aligning with our values also positively impacts our relationships. When we live authentically, we attract people who resonate with our values and appreciate us for who we genuinely are. Relationships that align with our values tend to be more supportive, fulfilling, and mutually respectful, as there is a shared understanding and appreciation for each other's principles. By being true to ourselves, we give others permission to do the same, creating connections that are based on honesty and shared values rather than superficial expectations. This alignment fosters trust and mutual growth, as we are encouraged to bring our whole selves to our relationships without fear of judgment or rejection. Furthermore, aligning with our values allows us to experience a profound sense of inner peace. When we live in a way that reflects our deepest beliefs, we feel less inner conflict and more harmony within ourselves. There's a quiet satisfaction that comes from knowing we are true to ourselves, that our lives are not a performance or an attempt to meet external standards. This inner peace is a gift that comes from integrity. It's the realization that we don't have to prove ourselves to anyone because we are already aligned with what truly matters. This sense of inner calm frees us from the endless cycle of seeking approval, allowing us to live each day with a sense of joy and purpose. Embracing solitude for growth is a powerful practice that allows us to cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves, free from the distractions and influences of the outside world. Solitude isn't about isolation, rather, it's about creating a space where we can reconnect with our inner voice, our authentic desires, and our truest sense of purpose. In a world that constantly demands our attention and encourages us to seek validation from others, choosing solitude can feel like an act of rebellion. Yet it's within these moments of intentional aloneness that we can access insights and revelations that are unavailable in the busy hum of daily life. Solitude grants us the stillness we need to reflect, to process, and to gain clarity about our own needs and aspirations. In solitude, we learn to listen to ourselves without interference. Often, the noise of the external world can drown out our inner voice, making it difficult to distinguish our genuine desires from the expectations and judgments imposed upon us by others. By spending time alone, we give ourselves the freedom to explore who we are without the need for approval. We can ask ourselves essential questions: what do I truly want? What values are most important to me? What kind of life do I wish to create? Solitude creates a space where these questions can be explored honestly, allowing us to uncover insights about ourselves that may have been buried under layers of social conditioning and external pressure. Embracing solitude for growth also encourages self-reliance and resilience. When we spend time alone, we become our own source of companionship, comfort, and support. This self-reliance is empowering, as it fosters a sense of inner strength and independence that is not contingent on the presence or opinions of others. We learn that we can rely on ourselves to face challenges, to soothe our anxieties, and to celebrate our own accomplishments. Solitude teaches us that we are whole and complete on our own, and that our worth is not defined by our social connections or by others' perceptions. This independence builds resilience as we come to trust in our ability to navigate life's uncertainties with courage and clarity. Solitude also provides an opportunity for profound self-reflection. In the quiet of solitude, we can revisit past experiences, consider our patterns, and gain a deeper understanding of our behaviors and motivations. Reflection allows us to see where we've been, recognize the lessons we've learned, and set intentions for the future. Through this reflective process, we come face to face with our fears, regrets, and unfulfilled dreams. It may be uncomfortable, yet these honest encounters with ourselves are essential for personal growth. By acknowledging both our strengths and our areas for improvement, we set the stage for meaningful change and transformation. Moreover, solitude nurtures creativity and inspiration. Many of the world's great thinkers, artists, and visionaries have recognized the importance of solitude for unlocking their creative potential. When we're alone, our minds have the freedom to wander, explore new ideas, and make unexpected connections. Without the distractions and demands of social interaction, we can engage in deep focus, immersing ourselves fully in our passions, projects, or creative pursuits. This creative solitude allows us to approach our work and our goals with a fresh perspective, unburdened by the expectations of others. We begin to create, think, and innovate not for external approval, but as a form of self-expression and exploration. Embracing solitude also deepens our connection to nature and the present moment. When we're alone, particularly in natural surroundings, we become more attuned to the world around us, the sound of the wind, the rustling of leaves, the gentle rhythms of life that often go unnoticed. This immersion in nature can be profoundly grounding, helping us reconnect with the simplicity and beauty of existence. In solitude, we experience life in its raw form, without the filters of societal expectations or digital distractions. This heightened awareness fosters gratitude and mindfulness, reminding us of the richness of the present moment and helping us cultivate a sense of peace that is independent of external circumstances. In solitude, we also gain a healthier perspective on our relationships. By stepping back from the constant demands of social interaction, we can evaluate our connections with others from a more objective standpoint. We begin to see which relationships bring us joy and support, and which may drain our energy or conflict with our values. This perspective allows us to approach our relationships with greater clarity and intention, choosing to invest in those that nourish us while setting boundaries with those that do not. Solitude thus becomes a powerful tool for cultivating meaningful and balanced relationships that align with our authentic selves. Additionally, solitude fosters a sense of self-acceptance and self-compassion. When we are alone, there is no need to put on a facade to impress or to compete. We are free to be ourselves in our most unguarded, vulnerable state. In this space of solitude, we can embrace our imperfections, forgive ourselves for past mistakes, and treat ourselves with kindness. This self-compassion builds a strong foundation of inner peace and self-respect, enabling us to approach the world with greater confidence and resilience. The acceptance we cultivate in solitude becomes a wellspring of strength, reminding us that we are worthy just as we are, regardless of others' opinions or expectations. Breaking free from comparison is about reclaiming the power to define our lives on our own terms, unburdened by the expectations or achievements of others. Comparison is a habit that can be difficult to escape, especially in a world where success, happiness, and even self-worth are often measured against the standards set by others. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, whether in terms of career success, relationships, appearance, or possessions, we fall into a trap of self-judgment and inadequacy. This habit shifts our focus from our own journey and unique strengths to a narrow view of how we measure up to someone else. By breaking free from comparison, we can release the cycle of envy, self-doubt, and frustration, finding peace in our individuality and embracing a sense of purpose that is true to who we are. One of the first steps in breaking free from comparison is to acknowledge our own value and unique journey. Each of us has a path shaped by our experiences, choices, and personal growth. Our goals, dreams, and timelines are not meant to mirror those of others. When we recognize this, we can begin to appreciate our progress without feeling diminished by someone else's success. Comparison blinds us to our own strengths and achievements as it shifts our attention to what we believe we lack. But by focusing on our own journey, we cultivate gratitude for who we are and what we have accomplished. This gratitude serves as a foundation for self-worth, reminding us that we don't need to look outside ourselves for validation. Breaking free from comparison also involves redefining success in a way that aligns with our personal values. When we use someone else's life as a benchmark, we unconsciously adopt their definition of success, even if it doesn't reflect what truly matters to us. For instance, society often values wealth, status, or appearance, and these can easily become our markers of success if we aren't intentional about our own values. By clarifying what success means to us, whether it's personal growth, creativity, meaningful relationships, or inner peace, we begin to set goals that resonate with our authentic desires. This shift allows us to pursue a path that feels fulfilling, rather than chasing an idea of success that doesn't genuinely reflect our aspirations. Another essential part of breaking free from comparison is embracing self-compassion. Often we compare ourselves to others as a form of self-criticism, highlighting where we believe we fall short. Self-compassion teaches us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer a friend. Instead of criticizing ourselves for what we haven't achieved, we can acknowledge our efforts, our resilience, and the challenges we faced. Self-compassion creates a supportive inner environment where we can celebrate our growth rather than focusing on what we perceive as failures. This compassion not only strengthens our self-worth, but also allows us to appreciate others' successes without feeling threatened or inadequate. Breaking free from comparison also requires us to reframe the achievements of others. Instead of viewing someone else's success as a reminder of our shortcomings, we can choose to see it as a source of inspiration or as evidence of what's possible. Admiring others' achievements doesn't mean we need to follow the same path or adopt the same goals. By appreciating others' successes without comparison, we learn to celebrate the diversity of human experiences. This shift in perspective transforms envy into admiration and competitiveness into genuine respect, fostering a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. When we see that there's enough success and happiness to go around, we can appreciate our own journey without feeling diminished by someone else's progress. Cultivating presence and mindfulness is another way to break free from comparison. Comparison often pulls us out of the present moment, focusing our attention on a future we feel we're failing to achieve, or on past regrets that fuel feelings of inadequacy. Mindfulness, however, brings us back to the here and now, encouraging us to engage fully with our current experiences, emotions, and achievements. When we're mindful, we can savor our own growth without distraction, acknowledging that our journey is exactly as it should be at this moment. By practicing mindfulness, we can observe our thoughts of comparison without judgment, allowing them to pass rather than clinging to them. This awareness reminds us that our value isn't defined by fleeting comparisons, but by our presence and engagement in our own lives. Breaking free from comparison also involves recognizing that what we see in others is often only the surface of their reality. Social media, for example, presents a curated version of people's lives, often highlighting their successes and downplaying their struggles. When we compare ourselves to these idealized versions, we are comparing our whole selves, our triumphs, and our difficulties to a polished image that doesn't tell the full story. This awareness helps us realize that everyone has their own challenges, fears, and insecurities, even if they're not visible. By acknowledging this, we can release the unrealistic standards that comparison sets and embrace the complexity of our own lives, with all its highs and lows. Lastly, breaking free from comparison means finding joy and purpose in our own journey. When we're no longer looking sideways to see how we measure up, we become free to explore our own potential without limitation. We can take risks, pursue our passions, and embrace our unique abilities without the fear of not measuring up. In this freedom, we find a sense of fulfillment that isn't tied to external validation. We begin to view our growth, achievements, and even setbacks as integral parts of a journey that is ours alone. This sense of purpose and joy allows us to define ourselves by our own standards, leading to a deeper, more lasting satisfaction that isn't influenced by the achievements of others. The power of self-care lies in its ability to restore, rejuvenate, and center us amidst life's challenges. Self-care is not just about physical wellness or relaxation, it's a holistic practice that encompasses our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. At its core, self-care is an acknowledgement of our own worth and the importance of tending to our needs in a mindful, compassionate way. By prioritizing self-care, we establish a foundation of resilience and inner strength, empowering us to navigate daily stresses, relationships, and responsibilities with greater clarity and calm. When we take the time to care for ourselves, we're not being selfish, rather, we're ensuring that we have the energy and peace of mind needed to be our best selves, both for ourselves and for others. Self-care requires self-awareness, the ability to recognize what truly nurtures us and restores our balance. Often we get caught up in routines, obligations, and expectations, neglecting our own needs in the process. But self-care encourages us to pause and ask ourselves what we genuinely need at this moment. This awareness may reveal a need for rest, creative expression, social connection, or solitude. By tuning in to these needs and honoring them, we cultivate a deeper connection to ourselves and strengthen our intuition. Self-care then becomes an act of self-respect, a way of affirming that our well-being is valuable and that we deserve to feel nourished, balanced, and whole. Engaging in self-care also enhances our ability to manage stress. Life inevitably brings challenges, and without regular self-care, these stresses can accumulate and take a toll on our physical and mental health. Practices like mindfulness, deep breathing, exercise, and time in nature help us release built-up tension and reconnect with a sense of calm. These moments of care act as resets, allowing us to approach our challenges with a clearer, more grounded perspective. Instead of being overwhelmed by stress, we learn to respond to it with patience and resilience. This practice of self-care equips us with tools to handle difficulties more gracefully, making us less reactive and more centered in times of uncertainty. Self-care also fosters a healthy relationship with ourselves. In a world that often equates worth with productivity and achievement, self-care reminds us that we are valuable simply by being. Taking time for ourselves, even amidst a busy schedule, is a way of saying that we matter, that we are deserving of care and kindness. This relationship of self-compassion nurtures self-acceptance, reducing the tendency to judge or criticize ourselves harshly. By treating ourselves with the same care we would offer a loved one, we cultivate a sense of inner peace and acceptance, freeing us from the need to constantly prove ourselves. This self-compassion is foundational to a healthy self-image, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with greater confidence and self-assurance. Furthermore, the power of self-care extends to our relationships with others. When we prioritize our own well-being, we are better equipped to support and connect with those around us. Self-care helps us establish healthy boundaries, allowing us to give from a place of abundance rather than depletion. By maintaining these boundaries, we prevent burnout and resentment, ensuring that our relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. When we are well cared for, we bring a sense of presence and positivity to our interactions, making us more patient, empathetic, and attentive to the needs of others. In this way, self-care becomes a gift not only to ourselves but also to the people we care about. Self-care also empowers us to make choices that align with our values and priorities. When we are mindful of our well-being, we are less likely to engage in situations or relationships that drain us or compromise our integrity. Instead, we choose activities, commitments, and people that support our growth and bring joy. This alignment with our values is a form of self-respect, as it honors what is truly meaningful to us. Through self-care, we gain the courage to say no to what doesn't serve us, allowing us to focus on what brings fulfillment and purpose. This empowerment leads to a more intentional, satisfying life where our actions reflect our deepest beliefs and desires. Self-care also encourages personal growth and creativity. When we make time for ourselves, we create space to explore new interests, develop skills, and pursue our passions. Whether it's learning a new hobby, practicing a skill, or engaging in creative expression, self-care allows us to invest in our own development. This investment in personal growth enriches our lives, adding layers of depth and fulfillment. It reminds us that we are constantly evolving, capable of growth. and deserving of a life that reflects our interests and aspirations. By embracing self-care as a means of nurturing our potential, we open ourselves to new possibilities and a richer experience of life. Additionally, self-care promotes a sense of balance and harmony. Life is often a delicate juggling act, with demands coming from various directions. Without self-care, we risk becoming consumed by these demands, losing sight of our own needs and well-being. But by intentionally setting aside time for self-care, we create a rhythm that allows us to balance work, relationships, and personal time. This balance is essential for sustaining our energy and enthusiasm. When we are balanced, we are more adaptable and able to meet life's demands without feeling overwhelmed. This state of harmony enables us to live each day with a sense of ease and flow, embracing challenges with a calm mind and an open heart.